Hello, welcome back, and as always, I hope you're doing well. Right, you're probably wondering why I've got this nice suit jacket on and not looking like the scruff that I usually do. Well, that's because I've got a special guest coming in here today, and he's a smart dressed man, and I didn't want to look underdressed. You might not know Mike, but Mike is the events manager for the event that we're putting on in September. Been a good friend of the channel for a long time, and he graciously sent me, you might remember last year, the hardback of Steve Kerridge's book, The Intercepting Fist. So I've been good friends with Mike for about a year now. Anyway, enough of me going on. Let's have a little chat with Mike. Welcome to the Brucelee room, and thank you very much for joining me today.
It's a pleasure to be here, Striking.
As you know, Mike is the events manager for the forthcoming documentary and the event in September. Brucelee, the man, the legend, the icon. Penned by Steve Kerridge, of course. Right, so Mike, how did you get involved in this?
Well, when I first met Steve Kerridge, he mentioned that he was thinking of maybe working on a project and an event. And I thought, that sounds like a great idea. And I didn't think it would end up like this, where I'd end up doing the actual event itself. But I am directing the event and managing it, so I'm taking care of the schedule of that event.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how it all come about. Obviously, I took you over to meet Steve.
That's right.
And now we've got the Three Stooges all together. Excellent. So, how did you become a fan of Bruce Lee? Tell us a little bit about your backstory of Bruce, when you first saw him on the big screen, and tell us about your Bruce Lee story.
Yeah, I became a Bruce Lee fan in 1974. I was about 11 years old then. And like most kids then, all into the Kung Fu TV series, the Bruce Lee boom was on. I kept hearing about Bruce Lee, but I wasn't old enough to see any of his films.
Yeah.
Because there were X-certificates and you had to be over 18 in the UK to see them. But one day I walked into a newsagent, and there on a shelf was Kung Fu Monthly #3.
Really?
And this picture just jumped out at me, this image of Bruce Lee, and I thought, I've got to buy that magazine.
Yeah.
So I bought the magazine, took it home, read it again, and I was hooked. I was a Bruce Lee fan from then on.
Really?
Yeah.
Them Kung Fu monthlies have a lot to answer for, don't they?
They were brilliant magazines, though.
We needed them back then. That was the only.
Absolutely.
It was the only thing. Yeah. Right. Obviously, talking of magazines, this is the latest Bruce Lee Forever fanzine, of course, done by Steve Kerridge and right, Bruce Lee Forever. Well, you've done a fantastic article in here about the dubbers, and I'm trying to find the article. Here it is. There it is. This is Mike's article. It's a fantastic read. So, what's your fascination with the dubbers? And I mean, I'm going to do a video on it as well in the future. So tell me a little bit about that. What's the fascination about the dubbing?
I think the dubbing in Bruce Lee's films is very important, because those people who dubbed those films, they played a very pivotal role in making those films more acceptable to the West.
100%.
And they worked very hard at what they did. Mm. Now, I know a lot of people deride the dubbing and some of the martial arts pictures, but the dubbers who worked for Golden Harvest were very, very professional about what they did. Mm. And a number of them had acting experience. Some of them were broadcasters in Hong Kong.
That's right.
Ted Thomas, who had interviewed Bruce Lee himself, he ran the company called Axis International, which was a dubbing team that worked for Golden Harvest and the Shaw Brothers. Mm. And the voice actors he chose were very, very good. In particular, Michael Kay, who is a British voice actor who did the voice for Chen Zhen in Fist of Fury.
Teacher! Brilliant.
And his acting experience really, really helped that role.
Yeah.
And Bruce Lee actually chose Michael Kay to do that role. Mm. He was literally handpicked by the master himself. And I think they worked very hard, because they were long nights. They were working into the early hours of the morning to get these dubs done. And sometimes the dubs were rejected They weren't just sort of done off the cuff. The people like Ron Oliphant and Ted Thomas, they were always looking to make sure that the dubs are done as best as they possibly could. In fact, Linda Masson, she did the voice for Chow Mei in The Big Boss.
Right.
She actually spotted that when the films were played in the cinema, the sync would be slightly out. And the reason for that was because they would record in the studio on magnetic tape. Yet when it went over to optical to be played in the projector, there'd be a slight bit of slippage. Oh. And she said it wasn't like that when we recorded it in the studio.
Really?
The dubbing was almost perfect. So that's why you see the dubbing slightly out of sync. It's because when it's run through the projector, it's run through to a slightly different speed.
Right. I mean, I praise you for doing it, because I look for all aspects to do with Bruce Lee and his movies.
Yeah.
And I think these people are like unsung heroes.
They are.
They really are. I mean, you look up Michael Caine, he's probably one of the more famous, but like Barry Hay.
Barry Hay did the voice for Tang Long in The Way of the Dragon.
I mean, there's very little on him. You know, you try and find yourself a decent photograph of him, it's pretty hard work.
Yeah, I know.
You know, and I'm glad you brought this up, because these people are part of it. Like, I do the soundtracks, I do all these things.
Yeah.
But they're an integral part. I grew up, I know a lot of people sort of frown on the dubs now. I've got a special place in my heart for the dubs. And
me too.
If I watch Fist of Fury, if I watch Way of the Dragon, I know the purists to say, you shouldn't. I like them. Because even the Hong Kong dubs were dubs. That weren't Bruce Lee, so... No. But I'm glad you do that, mate. I tell you what, I think it was a brilliant article, and those that have bought Steve's fanzine would have read Mike's article, and it is absolutely stellar, and he's helping me. I'm going to be doing a video on it in due course. Right. Going back to the event.
Yep.
What does the event consist of? The showings, the mezzanine, the presentations by Woodrow Press. All right, Rob? And merchandise stands and all that. So tell us a little bit about all that. What's being shown?
Yeah, I mean, what we're going to be doing during the day is going to be a mixture of presentations inside the auditorium itself. So we will have, in the morning, we're going to be showing A Stuntman's Tale, which is a short documentary made by Steve Kerridge. He filmed that in Thailand.
That's right.
With a stuntman known as Prao Parapak. And sadly, Mr. Parapak has passed on now, but the stories he tells in that documentary about working with Bruce Lee on The Big Boss, I think the fans will really enjoy that.
They'll get a kick out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
And we'll also have a few other little presentations that morning, and then we'll be showing the first part of Bruce Lee, the man, the legend, the icon.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have a break, and then an intermission. Now that intermission is very important, because that'll give a chance for the fans to meet each other and have a chat, buy some merchandise. We've got some really cool merchandise, and also have their pictures taken in our diorama, which is a full-scale version of the Honku School from Fist of Fury.
I know. I want my photo in front of that.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
And there'll be other things going on there, and I think it's very important that fans get a chance to talk to each other. And
yes,
because some people will be meeting old friends from the Bruce Lee community.
Yeah.
And also making new friends.
I must admit, I mean, the last event we went to,
yeah.
I mean, I didn't get to see all of the presentations because I was conversing with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we don't want everyone to feel rushed. We want them to have time to enjoy having a chat, etc., etc. I agree. So there'll be merchandise stands there, all of that jazz.
Some fantastic graphics will be to look at as well, done by Woodrow Press, and as you say, Robbie's done a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And I think the fans are going to really enjoy that. And like I say, the diorama picture opportunity and also a chance to meet the production team.
Yeah.
Yourself and Steve, me and other people.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Right. Some people mentioned, because we initially was going to put the Big Boss Mandarin cut.
Yeah.
Why was it pulled? And will it be shown if we do further events?
That's a very good question. I have to say, I felt bad about having to pull the Big Boss the Mandarin cut, but because of the time restrictions on the schedule that day, and the fact that I wanted a longer intermission to give people a chance to have a break, have some food, refreshments, meet each other, etc., like I said earlier on.
Yeah.
the Mandarin cut of the Big Boss is 2 hours long. Now, the documentary itself is over 3 hours long. So that's 5 hours in an auditorium.
Yeah, it's a long time.
It's a long time. And,
yeah.
you know, that's not really fair on the fans to be expected to sit through all of that.
Mm.
Now, I understand that some people are saddened about the Big Boss, the Mandarin Cut being pulled, but there'll always be another chance. I mean, if we do have another event, I will push to get that film shown in DCP format, which is the industry standard.
Yeah.
In 4K, 35mm. I will push for that. But I am trying to recompense by showing the Stuntman's Tale instead, and a few other little things that I think the fans will find interesting and enjoyable.
Yeah, it's just the time, because it's an epic documentary.
Absolutely.
This is not a little 90-minute documentary. This is 3 hours.
Yeah.
Plus, maybe, you know. So I was a little bit gutted myself, but you can't expect people to sit there from 9 in the morning till 6 at night without being able to get up, buy something to eat, and etc. etc. I agree. Right, so we've been fortunate to see the documentary.
We have.
Right. What are your thoughts on the documentary itself? What are what are your thoughts on what Steve has created?
I think what Steve's done is absolutely remarkable. It's probably the best documentary. It's very easy for me to say this, of course, having seen it, and because I'm working on this event. It's very easy for me to sound biased.
Yeah.
But I will be honest and truthful, and that is the fans are going to be in for a real treat. This is probably the greatest documentary ever done on Bruce Lee. The information in there, the research. It's meticulous.
Well, we know Steve Kerridge from the publications that he's put out.
Yeah, he worked so hard to get his research absolutely fact-checked. It's right on the button. And there's so much in there that is new. Fans are going to see new images, new stills. They're going to hear new audio of Bruce Lee for the first time. There's so much to enjoy.
Yeah.
Though, you guys won't be disappointed.
No, you won't. Right. Good answer. I couldn't agree with you more. I think I've got many Bruce Lee documentaries, and I've seen pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
Apart from obviously the one that was shown at the Heritage Museum. But this one's like no other. This is not your average talking heads. This is like you're following the story.
Yeah.
Bruce's story. It's one for the fans. Right. Now the doc is using a little bit of AI.
Yes.
Right. What are your thoughts on AI? And how is it used in the film?
Well, I think AI has tremendous potential. I mean, at first I was a little bit sceptical. But having seen the way AI has been used in the documentary, and it is used sparingly.
Yes. I wanted Mike to point that out.
Yeah, it's used sparingly and it's used sympathetically. And it's been done very, very well.
Tastefully.
Yeah. And again, Steve has worked very hard to make sure any AI in that looks as realistic as possible and also moves the story on.
Yeah.
It's all part of the storytelling. I mean, the documentary is very immersive anyway. Once the documentary starts, you'll get drawn into it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's like you're with Bruce Lee all the way. You're not only listening and watching his life story, you're feeling like you're with him. And that's what makes this documentary so unique. It's such a unique experience.
It is like no other.
It is.
I've never seen one like it before.
Yeah.
And it takes you right back to that time and that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it is pretty special.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for answering that one. Right. Now, a lot of folks are asking whether this will be released on Blu-ray or DVD further down the road. Can you clarify what's happening with the film after the event, or do we not know yet?
Well, I leave that decision with Steve Kerridge.
Yeah.
But I would like to see it probably released at some stage on Blu-ray. Wouldn't anybody? Or even on a streaming service or something like that. But those decisions are with Steve. We also have to gauge the reaction of the fans on the day and see how much they like the documentary. I think they're
going to love it.
They're going to love it. Yeah, they're going to love it.
They're going to get a right kick out of it.
Yeah, we're going to get a lot of people saying, when's it out on Blu-ray?
Yeah.
But that's a little bit further down the line, yeah. we'll see. But again, that's a decision I'll leave with Steve.
Fair enough. Good answer, Mike. Right. Will there be an event T-shirt being sold on the day?
There certainly will.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We'll be wearing them. We'll be wearing them.
We've got to have it.
Yeah. So that's a definite, because I got asked that myself, will there be event T-shirts? Yeah. Also, right, when are the tickets and lanyards being sent out? Because obviously this is not a get a barcode or a QR code and scan in and get your wristbands. When are the lanyards and the tickets being sent out?
Right, the lanyards are going out late July, so everybody should be getting them through the post soon. So don't worry, folks, they will be going out.
So they're going to sort of land around Brucelee's anniversary of his death, 20th of July, roughly.
Yeah.
Nice touch, I think. Nice touch.
Yeah.
So those that are worried that your tickets ain't arrived yet, they've not even been posted yet. So Mike has let you know they're going out in July, just a few weeks, 6 weeks before the event, something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't worry, you'll get them, folks. Yeah.
Right. Final few. Is there any food and drink available on the day?
Yes, the bar on the mezzanine is open, and there is a kitchen as well. There is a cafe downstairs, I believe. So food and drink is available. The Mile End Road anyway has got loads of restaurants and cafes along it. So if anybody's feeling like they want to drink, you know, they won't go without.
Well, they've got a bar in there, haven't they?
They've got a bar in there, and they've got a cafe. And there is food available. Yeah.
Oh, right. Well, that's cool. Right. How difficult is it to get there? I mean, obviously it's on the Mile End Road or down Whitechapel. Is it difficult to get to it?
Not at all. I mean, I've been a few times, as you know, Stripey, when I've been visiting the Genesis myself. And I usually I come from Dugdale in Oxfordshire, and I go straight to Paddington Station, and from then on I hop on the Elizabeth line, and I can be in Whitechapel within 15 minutes on the Elizabeth line.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get to. And I'd say if you're arriving at Whitechapel Station, just come out the main entrance of the station, turn left, go up Mile End Road, go past the famous Blind Beggar pub, and just continue down the road, and you'll be probably at the Genesis Cinema in about 15 minutes.
It's really easy to get to, isn't it? Yeah, it is good.
And there are other stations to choose from as well. But
there's one either side of the Genesis, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
So it is quite easy. Yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. Right, last question, Mike. Well, we got through them really quick.
Yeah.
What's your favourite Bruce Lee film? I know the answer to this already, by the way, but I wanted you to know.
I knew he was going to ask me this. Actually.
Did you? I've got to.
Fist of Fury.
Any reasons?
Well, I think it was probably because it was the first Bruce Lee film I ever saw. I saw it in 1979. It was a double bill with The Way of the Dragon. I was still underage, and I sneaked in to see that. And that film had an awful lot of impact on me. I think it's a brilliant film. It's got a lot of atmosphere to it. You know, it's and Bruce Lee's performance in that, I think, is fantastic. His range of emotions and the fight scenes are so ferocious.
Yeah.
For a young person seeing that for the first time back in '79, it left a real indelible impression on me. You know, I love Fist of Fury. Yeah.
And that's when we first heard him do that. Wah!
The fighting cries in that film, I think, are probably at his best because they're blood curdling. They're in with the character he's playing.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm a toss up. I've always said my whole life Enter the Dragon, but since I've been doing the Bruce Lee content, I've got a real soft spot for Fist of Fury and Way of the Dragon. And on a different day, it's between them three. I love the Big Boss.
Yeah.
Not so much the '78 Game of Death, but I've spoke about that before. But yeah, mate, this has been great. Thank you so much for coming round, Mike, and sitting down and going over a few bits. I'm sure people that are coming to the event and people that might be thinking about coming to the event will get something out of this.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
I'm so glad you're on board, mate. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.